So first, going to get into AJ's laws of prospecting. So want to make this as actionable as possible, but I can't dive right into that without getting into some of the mindset or how to actually think about this stuff. So first things first, it's a habit, not a tactic. What I'm going to show you, outbound prospecting, it's not something you just do like once in a while. And you just send out 100 emails, do 100 cold calls like once a month. It's not going to work. It's not just another tactic. I want you to look at it and adopt it as a habit. Look at it as part of your identity, something that you just do consistently. If you can just do this even for 30 to 60 minutes a day, again, your world can change. So look at it as a habit and carve out time in your schedule. If it doesn't get scheduled, it's not going to get done. Don't look at it as something where, whenever I have time, I'll go send some emails. I've made that mistake before and it just doesn't work. You need to prioritize it. Best thing is if you can just do it first thing in the morning, especially because you might have some resistance around sending emails or making cold calls. But if that's the case, remember, it could always be worse. You could be knocking on thousands of doors in a day. Law number 2 is that it works if you work. So again, we're in an age where everybody's trying to sell us on the best way to get clients or to get leads. I see ads all the time. LinkedIn is dead. And then the next day I see an ad for someone promoting a LinkedIn course. Or, hey, Facebook ads are dead. You need to get onto TikTok. You need to get onto YouTube, whatever it is. So just know that this works. Like this is probably pretty much is one of the oldest ways of digital marketing. People still check their email. People are still on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is still growing. So again, this works. The reason I say that is because a lot of people, they might try something new. And if it doesn't work right away, it doesn't work. It's not that it didn't work. It didn't work the way you did it, right? But again, it works and you just have to put in the work. So don't try this for a week. Don't try this for 2 weeks. Stick with it. If you can do this for the next 30 to 60 days, you will for sure see results, but you have to put in the work. Again, it's a numbers game. You can't just send 5 great looking emails to 5 companies and then be pissed that they didn't respond. So you just got to keep putting in the consistency. Number 3 is quality first. So the average reply on a cold email is less than 1% now. And that's because a lot of people have kind of done the mass blast. But what I'm going to show you today is to actually send emails that your prospects love, that it's not annoying them. They're not marking you into spam. I'm going to really show you how to focus on quality in your messaging over quantity. Of course, you want to get quantity because like we said before, you got to get those numbers up. But really taking a quality first approach so that it doesn't feel like spam, you're actually providing value and you're actually getting the result. So we're going to talk about that balance. Number 4 is start a conversation, don't advertise. So if you look in your email inbox and you look at, most people do cold emails so bad. And I'm going to show you some examples today. I have some people with the names blurred out of some emails I've gotten. But most people, their emails look like a flyer or it looks like an advertisement. That's not what you want to do. Your email should look like a conversation. Even if you are sending it out with an automated tool, it should look like you wrote it as a person to that person intentionally. This one thing will make all the difference. If you just change that one thing, it'll make a huge difference. So again, you're not trying to advertise your service. Most of the emails I get, most of the LinkedIn messages I get, they're all people just giving a wall of a giant pitch, but you're not trying to advertise your service. You're just trying to start the conversation. So don't be thinking about the need to sell your service. So number 5, sell the next step. Another place I've seen a lot of people go wrong with outreach is they try to sell their product or service. Especially if you sell something, anything really, anything where there's when there's a relationship involved, but especially if you sell something that's like 5K or 10K or 3K a month or even much higher, nobody's going to make that decision over an email. Nobody. So you have to realize you're not trying to sell your service or your product in an email. You're trying to sell the next step, which is a conversation. So again, back to when I first got into sales and I was doing door-to-door, when I would ask people and try to talk to them into getting their house painted, it never worked. They would slam the door on me. But when I said, hey, would you be willing to meet with me next week for an hour? And I could tell you more about what I think about your project, how much it would cost, and if you should even do it this year, they were much more open. So I was basically scheduling appointments. So again, your email should not be pitching all of the benefits and features of what you do. You're just trying to get them on a conversation because that's where you can really build a relationship and go through the proper sales process. So again, sell the next step. And number 6 is don't give up. I don't just mean in general with trying this. I mean, don't send someone one email. I've had clients that have come back to me after 4 years, people that have reached out to me out of the blue, that have somehow kept my information, or people that I've reached out to, just once a quarter, once a year. So the thing is, a lot of times we send an email, someone doesn't reply, we get disappointed, and we think, they weren't interested. 90% of the time, they were interested. They just didn't see your email, or they saw it on their phone, but they didn't have a chance to respond. So you have to follow up, because again, people's inboxes are flooded. I saw a study, I think it was from Harvard, and it said that the average executive gets like 300 plus emails a day. It's probably even more now since I last saw that. But again, people just haven't seen your email. I usually get more responses on the second and third and fourth follow-up than I do on the first one. So it always amazes me every time. And it's really just people that, again, they're just busy. They're running a company. They're not sitting by their phone waiting for your email. So you need to follow up. And number 7, we'll talk more about the messaging later, but keep it short, keep it relevant, and keep it about them. Huge mistake is, number 1, people are just sending super long emails. If I'm on my phone, you got to think, when are most people reading their LinkedIn or their email? Or when are most people even taking a call? When they're in the middle of something else. I mean, I check my email when I'm traveling, when I have a few minutes at the end of the day, a few minutes at the beginning of the day, when I'm in line, whenever I have downtime. So your email should be so quick that they can read it in maximum 30 to 45 seconds. Keep it short, because again, the only reason you're making a super long email is because you're trying to pitch all your, everything about what you do. So keep it as short as possible. It just makes it easier for people to actually read and reply. Keep it relevant to them. Use examples that are relevant to them. Talk about their problems, their goals. And overall, keep it about them. This is one of the biggest things that, makes a huge difference in the amount of replies you get. Is, again, most people, they send emails, they send calls, they make calls, and they're talking about, hey, this is my name from this company, and I do this, and I got assigned to your account, and we do this, and we helped our client do this, and they received this result, and here's our process, here's how it works. Nobody wants to hear any of that. They want to hear about themselves. If you can actually strike a nerve, if you can actually point out a problem that you saw they're dealing with, or other people in their field are dealing with, something about the industry that's relevant, point out their goals, they're way more likely to read. Because why? I mean, it's psychology. We all love to talk about ourselves, but ultimately nobody cares about you. They don't care about you until they know that you can help them. Until they know that there's a reason to care, then they're going to care. So again, people do care about you, but only after they know you can help them. In the beginning, you're literally just a stranger in their inbox. And if you're pitching your services, if you're even mentioning prices in the first email, it just comes off way too forward. There's a time for that, but it's not in the first contact. I mean, think about it in a different example. Sales is very much like dating. You wouldn't go up to a girl in a bar and just be like, hey, my name's this and I'm from here and I just bought this really, awesome car and it's got this house too and you got to come check it out. It's so cool and I'm amazing. That girl would leave before you even finish your sentence. So a lot of times, it's really helpful just to think about, before sending an email or a message, think about how it would sound in real life if you approach somebody at a networking event. Or even just think about it in a dating example. So again, keep it about them.